Hey, I'm Cecile Alderson, and the first book I chose for the literacy project is The Napping House. The author is Audrey Wood, and the illustrator is Don Wood. It is a story about a napping house where everyone is sleeping. It starts with several characters. There's a granny, a child, a dog, a cat, a mouse, and even a tiny wakeful flea. The characters kind of go in sequence where they start with larger and get smaller as they go along. The flea ends up biting the mouse, and it starts a chain reaction where everyone gets woken up, and in the very end, everybody's laughing, and the bed even breaks. This is a fun one. It's very inviting. It encourages kids to read along. It encourages them to make predictions. It supports vocabulary development and gives lots of words that are related to sleep, so lots of synonyms found in the book. It helps with anticipating what happens next. Like I said, each character kind of goes in order and in sequence. This book is ranged for children ages 1 to 4. It's one of my favorite books. I love sharing it with my students every year. I always like to introduce it on a rainy day. And in my classroom, I have this in a big book version. And so the children love to hear it. They always ask for it on a rainy day. And a great follow up activity to go along with this one is to have sequence cards of maybe just the characters in the story or some different pictures that go along with the story, and the kids can use it to sequence the story in order. I would always do it whole group with my class all together, and then push it out to a center so that the children could sequence the story on their own. The next book I have is Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. The author is Bill Martin Jr. and John Archambault. The illustrator is Lois Ellert. It's ranged for children ages 1 to 4, and it's a story about the letters of the alphabet. And it's the letters of the alphabet are racing up the coconut tree, and they want to know, will there be enough room for everybody? In the end, the letters all fall out of the tree, and they need help from their big letters, their mamas and papas, the uppercase letters, to help them up and dust them off and make them feel better. This book is great for introducing letters, uppercase and lowercase, and it brings about phonics in a very fun and memorable way. It's very repetitive and has great rhythm. It's very engaging and encourages interaction from the students. And this is another one of my favorite books. I love to introduce it at the very beginning of the school year. And it, like I said, it's just got great rhythm and repetition. There's also a song that you can find that you can search it on YouTube, and it's just the story in a song version. And that's always a fun way to incorporate it too. There's some follow up books that go with it that go along with the holidays. I know there's a Chicka Chicka Ho Ho Ho. There's Chicka Chicka ABC, Chicka Chicka 1 2 3. There's lots of other books that go along with this that you can incorporate into your classroom to include other activities besides just language and literacy. A great follow up activity for this one would be just to simply match uppercase and lowercase letters. I like to start this activity in a pocket chart where I usually would place the uppercase letters all in the pocket chart and then give the children the lowercase letters and they have to match them. It seems to be a little easier, especially earlier in the school year, if you go ahead and kind of start the activity process for them instead of just asking them to pull uppercase and lowercase and match them. If you kind of start the activity by placing the uppercase letters in a pocket chart, it seems to help things go a little smoother. The next story I have is Room on the Broom. It is written by Julia Donaldson, and the illustrator is Axel Scheffler. The age range is children 2 to 5 years old. This story is about a witch and her cat who are having a great time just flying on their broomstick. And then the witch begins to lose things. She loses her hat and her bow and her wand. And there's always another little animal down on the ground who helps her find it. And in return for finding what she's lost, they ask, is there room on the broom for them? There's a dog and a cat and a bird. And they do eventually get to all make it on the broomstick, but later the broomstick it breaks, and they also run into a little scary dragon who wants to eat the witch for dinner. And so then her new friends have to come about a new way and save her. And so this is a really fun book. It encourages phonological awareness through the use of rhyming words. It is predictable. Usually, after you read it once, you can leave off the rhyming word, and the students are able to guess what the word's going to be. It encourages interaction and making predictions about what's going to happen next, and it's very fun with all the repetitive parts in it that children love to participate in. This is definitely another one of my top favorite books to read, especially around Halloween. And it's a great story that children always remember. I like to discuss characters and setting using this book because there's not very many characters to choose from, and the setting is pretty much the same throughout the whole book. So it's a great introduction to that for my students to really hone in on characters and setting, which is a standard that we assess in my pre-K school. A fun follow-up activity that I love to do in my classroom is I actually, for my own children at home, have all the character props. We have all the stuffed animals that the children can use to retell the story. I even have a witch's hat and a witch's broom, and we like to do it whole group together at first and retell the story, and then I like to push it out to the library center where the kids take turns being the different characters and retelling the story, and you can usually always find a little audience around nearby too who have come to hear the next part of the story. So those are three of my favorites that I love to use in my own classroom.